Welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Not far from Artscape, in a quiet place, with the soon-to-be president, new president.
I never...
Endorsed by BeMoreNews.com.
Yes, endorsed by BeMoreNews.com. Thank you very much, Don.
My mentor, Mr. Charles, and mentor to so many people across the country. Mr. Charles Robinson. How are you today, sir?
Hey, fantastic. Glad to be on BeMoreNews.com.
Well, I thank you, and we thank you and all of the supporters. June, we had the highest amount of hits, 1.5 million hits from 40,000 unique visitors.
I am not surprised.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for all your help. What have you been working on besides becoming the new president of NABJ?
Well, I've been looking at the city that I love so dearly, Baltimore. And where is Baltimore? I'm going to tell you, Donnie, we're at a unique point in our history, especially for black politics.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of the Negro problem here in Baltimore?
Well, that's been a problem ever since the turn of the century.
Yeah, too many black people, what to do with them. And when I look at these 47,000 vacant houses, it's a reminder of all of the people who have been displaced, many of whom are black.
Well, let me talk a little bit about where I think Baltimore is.
That's where we were. This is where we are.
And that is that we have a large disenfranchisement of an electorate, because we have a large population that's coming out of the prison system that doesn't realize they can actually get the right to vote. Then we have another population that looks at the political system with a jaundiced eye that doesn't think it's necessary to vote. So in this upcoming mayoral election, especially in the primary, there's going to be a big problem with voter turnout to get the electorate excited. Let me just say, and I've always said that if you don't vote, you have no reason to complain.
Well, see, back with, you asked me earlier in another interview about Frederick Douglass, I'm reminded of Fannie Lou Hamer, a black woman who was kicked, beaten, and stomped just for us to have the right to vote. Now, I can't understand any person of color who does not vote.
Well, here's one of the things I said at the last debate that you sponsored, Donnie, and that was everybody who appears to be engaged should take two people to the polls, because at the end of the day, if you're excited, you need to get somebody else excited. And I understand the parochialism. I don't know if I want to bring somebody. No, this election is too important.
Well, why? Why is it important?
Because we're at this unique moment in Baltimore. In other words, we can go either upward and onward or downward in a spiral. I happen to believe we have great possibilities in front of us. And I really don't care who you vote for. But what I want you to do is I want you to get engaged in the process. Do not sit on the sidelines. When you see a candidate who's running for office, challenge them. Don't be playing around, because a lot of people say, well, Charles, you're really tough on candidates.
No, because once they get in there, they forget.
Absolutely.
And if you don't get it up front, you won't get it.
Right, and then the last thing, black women have charted the course of this city in the last, I'm going to say 4 election cycles.
Yes, they did. They were the ones that put Martin O'Malley in power.
Let me remind those ladies that there is a growing population, and that population is pretty evident here at Artscape. It's white, it's urban, it's eclectic, and you got to talk to them too. You can't be playing around with, I'm only want black folks to vote for me. That ain't gonna put you over the top.
What do you think of the state of Baltimore today?
Like I said, it's at the teetering point.
Let's start with education.
Well, if you remember in the last debate, I posed this bizarre question. Would you be willing to tell the state, we're going to figure out how we're going to fund education? Because the state is never going to give you the right to dictate policy.
But even more so, in the process, the school CEO it's hard to hold that person accountable.
That's the reason why you either got to pull totally out of the system and find some new revenue sources,
But this is what I don't understand. We found $8 million to do a Hot Wheels set down the harbor, or the Grand Prix.
The Grand Prix. Well, once again,
with additional requests for 100,000 here, 100,000 there.
Well,
7.8, 8 million. But they cut the pools last summer in the dead of summer, in a heat wave.
You know what?
Does that make sense?
Let me tell you, I told a
Is that bigger and better?
Well, let me say, I told a former candidate who was running for mayor, he should stand in front of every pool and said, I want this pool open. And the mayor, everybody should be saying that. It is really a travesty that people don't understand what that does for community. And yeah, maybe you need to put a price tag on it, but the bottom line is those pools need to get open. It's like recreation centers.
Why is that a problem when we can find money, with slots? Have you been up Park Heights Avenue lately?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen the litany, the plethora, the cornucopia of abandoned houses?
Everybody's seen that. That's not, look.
It's not new, but there's about $12 million that's been already allotted for the rehab of Park Heights, as money has been allotted for the rehab of other parts of Baltimore, but it's not been done. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Rowley was responsible for Park Heights and this whole Park Heights renovation piece.
Part of it is that it's called a balance. In other words, how do you balance economic interests with neighborhood interests? I think the scale has been obviously tilted towards economic interests.
Oh, for
too long.
For the communities, we get blue light cameras.
Right.
And 30 more are coming.
Right. But here's the problem. If you don't have a way to allow for that balance, you create a situation where there's really no place to go.
Haves and have-nots, baby.
Right. And I believe that this city is very vibrant. I always have believed the city is very vibrant. And I think what we need is someone who says, I'm not prepared to deal with the status quo, and I haven't heard that from any candidate. And Donnie, that's why you and I cover the campaign trail.
We do.
Thank you, BeMoreNewsPar.com, for all you do. Donnie, you're still the man. I don't care what they say. All right,
Charles
be good.
Robinson, we wish you very well on your presidency and your campaign.
Thank
Keep
you, sir.
watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.